In today's video, I want to address my remarks mainly to those of you that are somewhere in your investigation of Armenia as a place that you would like to retire to and are somewhat reluctant to go any farther because of the language restriction. My name is William Hutchison. I'm the owner, along with my wife, of Armenia Colombia Realty for Expats in Armenia, Colombia. We also have a sister company now in Salento, which is a little Spanish culture type town, heavy on the tourism, about 18 or 20 kilometers away from Armenia. Our company there is Salento Colombia Realty. Don't go there yet because the webpage is under construction. I want to start off first with a story of when I came to Colombia 13 years ago. It'll be 13 years in October 26th to be exact. And I landed in Rodadero, which is a seaside community close to Santa Marta. When I came here, I had 4 words. I had hello, goodbye, please, and thank you in Spanish. I started off with going to restaurants and having to point to the menu if there was a photo of the meal that I wanted on the menu to start with. And I can laugh about it now because I had no choice, maybe as far as eggs were concerned. I might have wanted fried eggs, but the photos had scrambled eggs, so that's what I had to settle for. I soon learned that with not many verbs, studying a little bit of conjugation, and a few common words, that I could get by. I learned quickly that the word for eggs was huevos, and that if you wanted them fried, it was frito. Excuse me. So I got by. I had to overcome the hurdle of maybe feeling embarrassed because I couldn't communicate as well as I wanted to, but I found the Spanish people very helpful. They'll help you conjugate a verb for the most part. They'll suggest a word. Some that have a little bit of broken English, they'll stop you on the street. I've had it happen to me 3 or 4 times and ask me if they can speak to me in English for a while because they don't have an opportunity to practice. My advice is to get on the internet. There's a lot of good sources there. They're free. You don't have to be paying whatever they charge for Spanish lessons in a one-on-one. Some of these sites will go through a tutorial with you, and at the end there's a little bit of a test. And using that test, you can determine how much of the lesson you have been able to maintain. I think 20 to 40 hours on the internet would probably get you enough Spanish that you could land here and you could get by. When I say that, if you're an English speaker, there's a lot of words that you know now that you're never going to use here. What's the chances that you're going to use a word like isosceles triangle, or an architectural term, or an engineering term, maybe something to do with physics or chemistry that you've learned in high school and you've brought those words with you? The chances of you using here are slim. So what you need to do is get on the internet, get on a site or two. There's also sites there that will conjugate verbs for you. For example, whenever a verb ends in O, that refers to you. That's the I verb. In other words, if I say tengo, that refers to me. If I say quiero, that refers to me. So in a lot of cases here, you don't even need to use the pronoun. I would start with the common words that you're going to be using. Start with days, months, and numbers. That will cover off, especially the numbers, because the numbers will also cover off the money. And those are three areas that you should be able to capture the words for in a very short period of time. Then I would go to food, fruit and vegetables. You need the words for milk and for bread and for cheese. They're all easy to learn, but that would be another group of words that you would use frequently. The next one I would go to would be the body. You may end up at a doctor sometime, and you say, I have pain in my head, so it's dolor en mi cabeza, and the doctor will understand that. Although here too in Armenia there are quite a few doctors that have at least a smattering of English, and with your broken Spanish and their broken English, you should probably do fine. After that, I would move to furniture. La mesa, the table, the chair, la silla, and that brings up another point. Words ending in A are feminine, so the part of the descriptor is la, and words ending in O are masculine, and in those cases you use L, EL. After I got through those and knew them fairly well, and it shouldn't take long, they'll come to you quickly, especially fruits and vegetables. A lot of them are similar to English, and you already have those words, so it's very easy to convert them into Spanish. I would go next to the Google, the 20 most common verbs. I would think with the way I am here now with Spanish, probably intermediate level, if you have 20 verbs that you can conjugate fairly well, and for the time being, just concentrate on the present, past, and future. Don't be messing around with the imperfect and those sort of tenses. You can always get them later. But if you have the three main tenses on 20 of the verbs, and you can conjugate them for all of the pronouns, you've taken a giant step in being able to communicate. Because, as you know, every sentence, almost every phrase has a verb. And if you have command of those, you'll do very well. Then I would move to the most common words. And my guess is knowing 20 verbs and a few thousand words. I don't know if it would be 3,000, 5,000, or 7,000. But I would think with that knowledge, you would do well. I don't know how many thousand words I have. I may only have 2,500. I absolutely have no idea. If someone told me I had 1,800 or 4,900, I'd have to believe them because I just don't know. So that's kind of the recap. If you're thinking of Armenia, but you're reluctant to go any farther because you don't speak Spanish, you'll get by fine. You could come here with no words, get on the internet here, and in the same 20 or 40 hours, you'd be able to communicate. If you decide to do that, don't be concerned about trying. The only way that you're going to get into the Spanish, learn the language, communicate with the natives is by practicing it. I've never been laughed at. I've been here 13 years, and I know there's the opportunity for people to laugh at me. There must have been, but they don't. They just don't. They're very, very helpful. That's the video for today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about cognates, and cognates are words that have a similar origin and have a very small variance in the final letters. There's 29 rules. They're pretty general. They don't work for absolutely every word transferring from English to Spanish, but in a very high percentage of the cases, if you know the word in English and apply the rule to change that English word to Spanish, you'll be correct. I suspect with the 29 rules, there might be 1,500 words. So once you learn those 29 rules, and they're fairly straightforward, they aren't complicated. It's just a change of the last 2, 3, 4 letters in the word. Then you combine them with your verbs, your fruit and vegetables, your furniture, your body. You're away. You've got it made. And it's much easier to learn 29 rules than it is to learn 1,500 or 2,000 words. Guaranteed. That's the video for today. William Hutchison, Armenia, Colombia Realty for Expats, and Salento, Colombia Realty, signing off. I'm going to have a great day, guys. I live in paradise, and you can too.